Gertrude Stein once said, "A rose is a rose is a rose," and yet each one is different. That's especially true of David Austin's English roses. His flowers are all waiting for their grand appearance at this year's Chelsea Flower Show. Planning for the company's stand has top priority, and both company heads, David Austin Jr. and Sr., are taking a last look before the roses leave for London.
Getting the roses on time is the most difficult part. You've got all these different roses that really come out at different times, and we have to get them all out on one day, which is a fortnight or 3 weeks earlier than it should be. So you have to force them.
And it gets more and more complicated because there are always new breeds, 4 more this year alone. David Austin has displayed 185 varieties since he started coming to Chelsea.
We just bred our first roses, you see. Having these new varieties, just the 6 varieties, they really took the place by storm. It's only a tiny little stand, but because we hadn't shown these roses before, and that's when really the firm started to get going.
David Austin hybrids combine the forms and fragrances of old roses with the repeated flowering of modern roses. This makes them very easy to grow, healthy and reliable. Austin sells some 1.5 million rose bushes from the main plant centre every year. They have subsidiaries elsewhere in Europe as well as in the US and Japan. And they also sell license for their breeds. These special English roses are in demand the world over. Dipika Price is a regular customer. She grew up in Kenya and now spends lots of time in her English garden, as much as the unpredictable weather allows.
Yes, it's synonymous with being English, yes. It is a passion I can't explain, but I don't think we can live without our gardens. Gardening is in us. It's just there. We're born with gardening.
And the Chelsea Flower Show is also something the English can't live without. Dipika Price bought her tickets over a year ago.
Yes, the tickets have arrived, and it's 100 years this year, and we're very much looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll be there 8 o'clock in the morning in the grounds.
The Royal Horticultural Society invited exhibitors to Chelsea for the first time in 1913. There were 244 then, half as many as now. And the show was a success from the start. People flocked to it, rediscovering their love of flowers.
In the 18th century, the English were associated with a type of gardening that did not involve flowers at all, but involved grass, trees, water, and the creation of a landscape scene that was thought to be natural. In the 19th century, the English reacted against that. The gardeners of that generation deliberately tried to revive flower gardens as something that had been virtually lost.
The Chelsea Flower Show on the grounds of the Royal Hospital in London is the largest in the world, they say.
After the end of World War II in 1945, the show became a social and media event, not least because of interest on the part of the royal family.
Like Princess Margaret. The Queen Mother is also an attentive viewer of all this beauty. 3.5 acres of blooms right in the heart of London.
It's probably not an accident that her younger brother became president of the RHS in the 1950s. So every year she could be relied upon to be there, being shown around by her brother. And that really cemented the link between the Queen and Chelsea.
Back at the nursery in Albrighton, David Austin Jr. makes a final inspection. For him, the rose is the queen of all flowers.
The rose is the flower of love. It's that emotional connection, really, and an emotional connection starts with things of beauty, that's the number one, and also you have the fragrance. You have 2 very strong sensory connections that make it the perfect flower. Gardening and flowers really kind of opens up that emotion in people. It's incredible.
David Austin's roses are sent to customers all over the world, so they too can have a share in British gardening traditions.